What's going on, guys? Jono Bowles here. Hope you guys are all having a great start to your week. And today, actually by popular request, I'm going to be covering a quick recap on how the Tfsa works and just the general understanding of it. When you ask people about a Tfsa, a lot of people don't know what it is, and I'd really like to cover that because it is super beneficial, and especially in this time with the markets having the big dip they did, to really get in the markets and maximize your profits. I want to see everyone end the year on a green note, and I want to see everyone make the most money they can and really maximize their savings. We're all just trying to get ahead in life, so might as well make the most of it. So TFSA stands for tax-free savings account.
The tax-free savings account was originally put in place to kind of push towards Canadians, the notion that investing is good, which helps Canadians both invest in the economy and help, plan for their retirement. A lot of people don't understand, the concept of inflation, and this just, helps deal with money management as well as, stimulates our economy by having Canadians invest in, hopefully other Canadian companies. The tax-free savings account actually came into play in 2009. A lot of people were weary of investing after the 2008 market crash, so this kind of, stimulated our economy in a sense and helped Canadians, get over that fear of it.
A lot of people don't understand when you're investing, you get either taxed on capital gain or in dividends. There's a different model, but either way, you're still getting taxed at the end of the year. So this gives a way for Canadians to get ahead in life and have investments that they can prosper on and not have to worry about getting that tax deduction at the end.
If I had the choice and was in Canada, I would definitely recommend maxing out your TFSA first. Any profits you make are literally maximized because you don't have to worry about an end of year deduction off taxes. And overall, you're just maximizing your potential profits. I have quite a few accounts at this point, but overall, I still, lean towards my TFSA. However old you are, check to see what your contribution limit is, and I definitely recommend maxing out before you move on to anything else.
For most provinces, your tax-free savings account opens up when you're 18. In a few instances, it is 19, so be sure to check online to find the technicalities of when you can apply. From that point, you can check on the website. Each year, you have a contribution limit, and every year on top of that, it will expand. This means it's the maximum amount of funds you can deposit into your tax-free savings account. Otherwise, people would just be throwing all their money into that, knowing that they never have to pay taxes on it. So looking at the format of the tax-free savings account and just how the contribution limits work, after the age of 18, you'll see when your limits start increasing.
So taking a peek at the contribution limits here, the TFSA did start in 2009. As you can see, for 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, all the contribution limits were $5,000. So meaning if you were 18 at 2009, this would build up to $20,000 for the contribution limit. Looking for the next 2 years of 2013 and 2014, you can see the limit increase by 10% or $500, making it an extra $11,000 in those years you could invest. 2015 was actually, the highlight year definitely for the tax-free savings account so far. You could put an extra $10,000 in, and going forward, you can see that we have just continued with the $5,500 limit, but in 2019, we've started increasing that an extra $500. But looking forward, we can see that we have continued on the basis of $5,500. But luckily in 2019, they decided to push a little further, especially with inflation. And now we are looking at $6,000 per year, which is, it is a big chunk of change, especially if you start compounding all these amounts year after year. The nice perk of your tax-free savings account, even looking at 2009, the maximum you could contribute was $5,000. But if you didn't contribute all that in that year, it would carry over to the following year. So let's say you only invested $4,000 into your TFSA. Well, in 2010 with the 5,000 limit, now you can actually put 6,000 in that year because you had the 1,000 that carried over. What people have to understand is they have to look back of when they turned 18 and kind of, go back in time and see where your contribution limit started. For older people, you'll have every year all these contribution limits put together, but if you only recently turned, 18 or 19, depending on what province you're in, you're going to have a lot smaller of a contribution limit. It almost benefits people that are slightly older in the sense that year after year, they've been able to get a larger contribution limit. If you are curious personally about your contribution limit and are unsure about how much you have left to invest, let's say you've put a few dollars in here and there, but you haven't been able to do the mental math on it, you can actually log into your CRA account online and they will tell you how much your contribution you have left remaining. I'll chuck a link in the description there with the forward link to that in case you're interested.
So depending on when you turned 18 or 19, depending on your province, as I said, you can get an understanding of what your contribution limit room is here and a better understanding of how much money you can throw in. Your tax-free savings account does allow you to have unlimited profits in a sense. You will see that after you've contributed your money, you could have lucky investments that have profited you, 50, 60, 70%. And you're able to keep all those profits tax-free. That's no problem. You can also take out your money at any time with no fees and no deductions, unlike some other savings accounts. But the issue is with that, once you take the money in, that doesn't mean you've opened up more contribution. If your contribution limit's $5,000 for the year, let's say, and you end up, putting in $5,000, making, $2,000 and taking $3,000 out, now that $4,000 is all you have, you can't contribute more. You'll have to wait for the following year for your contribution limit to increase before you can think about putting more money in and trying to build your capital again.
Despite its name and, general understanding some older people might have on it, your tax-free savings account is an investing account similar to a cash account. Your goal with this is to fill it with stocks, bonds, ETFs, mutual funds, and other investments you normally have. But the perk of this is it's tax-free, so any tax deductions you'd have to face normally are just wiped. Something to note that they don't normally tell you, although it is a tax-free savings account, your one loophole or technicality that you may face, if you do own US companies that pay a dividend, you are subject to a 15% withholding tax. Now, I know this isn't a lot, but it's just something to take into consideration because, when I first started getting into my tax-free savings account, I thought whatever I invest in, all good, I'll never have to worry about tax deductions or anything else. So just something, to keep in the back of your mind, especially at the end of the year when tax season comes along. Now, looking at the main perks of your tax-free savings account, probably the biggest one next to, not being taxed is that you're not going to get dinged a penalty for withdrawing, and it can be done at any time. A lot of other accounts you have to hold for so many years and you get dinged if you take out money early. And there's a lot of technicalities and criteria on how you have to, invest your money and where to put it. The perk of this is, let's say you had a big return on something, you want to cash out. Let's say you want to have go on a trip or something like that. You can do that right away and there's no deduction, no fees, and all that money you've earned is now tax-free and you can do as you wish. One of the biggest perks that they don't normally tell you, when you are withdrawing in your tax-free savings account, anything that you've withdrawn, even though you can't put it back in that year, your following year, on top of your contribution limit increase, that's, might be $5,500 or $6,000 as, we were talking about earlier, you can throw all that money back into it. Let's say you took out $20,000 last year, and this year the contribution limit increased by $6,000. Now you can put $26,000 back in your tax-free savings account. So it really adds up, and it benefits Canadians in the sense that it's giving you this exponential growth, and it's almost, forcing you to invest in a sense that why wouldn't I put my money in stuff like this knowing that I'm not going to get dinged with the big capital gains tax? It's nice overall, especially for Canadians trying to get ahead in life, because now you have the option that, your capital gains and your bonuses, it benefits you to actually save onto your money and keep investing. If you blow your money on that, you might not have the money to invest the following year. So it kind of motivates Canadians to save and keep investing in local businesses, which, it drives our economy itself. So it's kind of a win-win overall. One of the few downsides with your tax-free savings account that's worth mentioning, with some accounts, when you invest money into the account, you can actually write that off as a tax deduction. The tax-free savings account, all your money getting put in counts as, post-tax income. So there's going to be no tax deductions you can do on your final tax report in a sense. Unlike other accounts, you're not going to be saving money by putting money into this account, but the big perk with the account is you won't get taxed on your capital gains or other income that you're getting with it. So overall, it is the better, in my opinion personally, overall this is the better account to have overall. Another fun fact that's not that beneficial, but I guess it could be depending on your situation, you can have unlimited TFSAs under your name. You can have one with one bank, one with another, one with an online broker, one over here, one there. It doesn't matter, but overall your contribution limit is gonna equal up to be the same either way. It doesn't matter how many times you diversify it, or even if you only have $1 in each. Let's say this year went $6,000, you can only have $6,000 in total over X amount of accounts. So it's still kind of cool to have, but it's not that beneficial really to have numerous accounts. For example, I actually currently have 3 TFSA accounts right now. I have 2 with TD, one being a Canadian tax-free savings account and one being a US tax-free savings account. I just do this with my exchange rate. I won't get dinged every time I invest. My third tax-free savings account is actually with Wealthsimple, and this is my longer-term dividend investing account. It's pretty much more of a retirement-based fund, but I actually use Wealthsimple for this in the sense that there's no commission fees on it. So I can only, if I want, I can just buy a share or two at a time of a company, but I use it for true diversification, especially starting off when you don't have a whole lot of money. It's hard to diversify in, numerous companies, especially if you're getting hit with a $9.99 buy and sell. So I definitely recommend, if you're just starting off and you're just looking for a really safe long-term account, definitely jump into Wealthsimple. They do have a fee if you're trying to convert from Canadian to US and back again. But if you're just looking to focus on Canadian investments, it's definitely a pretty good one for long-term ones. I will chuck a link in the description there if you want to use my promo code. If you invest $100, we will both get $5 after so many days of your investments being held there. So definitely worth trying. At worst, it's an easy 5% return. So yeah.
So yeah, that's my quick recap on a tax-free savings account. If you have any questions or anything I didn't answer, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I'll try and get back to every one of you there. If you're new to the channel, be sure to like and subscribe down there. I do try to post regular content now, at least once a week. And as always, let's stay sendy and stay safe. It's definitely a weird time in the world, but I mean, we might as well get our finances in check. Take it easy, guys.